Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm going to be talking about how algae biodiesel works. Some vocab words you need to know are algaculture, which is a method to cultivate certain types of algae which can be easy to grow under controlled conditions. Another one is fermentation, which is any group of chemical reactions induced by living and non-living ferments that split complex organic compounds into simple substances. The last vocab word you need to know is bioreactor, which is a container used to hold organisms for the purpose of harnessing their natural biochemical processes. Now I'm going to be talking about how it actually works. So since the price for gasoline has increased over the past few years at a large rate, many people are searching for a way to use cleaner and greener fuel for the environment. One possible alternative fuel could be algae, which can be converted into fuel and grows naturally all over the world. And under the correct conditions, algae can be grown in massive amounts. Half of algae's weight is in lipid oil, which has been studied for years. This fuel burns cleaner and more efficient than petroleum. In a research project, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory tested 3,000 types of algae, and they concluded that if produced in large enough amounts, algae could replace fossil fuels for home and heating and transportation purposes.
Hi, my name is Algae, and today we'll be talking about what makes biodiesel from algae so exciting. The forms of algae are red, green, and brown, which is leafy kelp, grassy moss, and fungus growing on rocks are all forms of algae. Biodiesel production process, algae consumes carbon dioxide, and then through photosynthesis, the algae pulls the carbon dioxide from the air, which replaces it with carbon. In manufacturing biodiesel plants, for this, algae biodiesel manufacturers are building biodiesel plants close to energy manufacturing plants which produce lots of carbon dioxide, and recycling carbon dioxide reduces pollution. And the biodiesel makers claim they'll be able to produce more than 100,000 gallons of algae oil per acre per year, which depends on the type of algae used, the way algae is grown, and the method of oil extraction. Pressing algae creates fertilizer and feedstock, which without depleting any other food sources. And algae can be grown anywhere indoors, containing water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide. It's a promising element in the race to produce a new fuel.
I'm Rebecca Boucher, and I am explaining how to get oil from algae. Oils and lipids are extracted from the walls of the algae cells. The methods include the oil press, which is the simplest method, and it can extract up to 75% of the oil from pressing the algae. Another is the hexane solvent method, which has two parts. It presses the algae, then the leftover algae is mixed with hexane, and then it is filtered and cleared. And there's no chemicals, and it gets 95% of the oil extracted. Another method is the supercritical fluids method, which gets 100% of the oil extracted, and CO2 is heated and pressured to change its composition into a liquid. When the CO2 mixes with the algae, it's combined and turned into oil. Another method is oil refined, and transederification uses fatty acid chains, and this process includes a catalyst such as sodium hydroxide mixed with an alcohol such as ethanol. Biodiesel fuel is combined with glycerol, but then the glycerol has to be removed and it produces algae biodiesel fuel.
Hi, my name is Cassidy, and I am reporting on how to turn algae into biodiesel fuel. Not only can you take algae and turn it into biodiesel fuel, but companies are now working to produce enough algae so there will be enough fuel available to replace petroleum in future years. The only way to do this is by open pond growing. In doing this, we can grow algae in hot, sunny areas in the world. If there is bad weather, it can stunt the growth of the algae and put it under hazardous conditions and contamination, so it might not be good for the overall process. This is a downside. This is why we have other options. Vertical growth, or closed-loop production, is developed in biodiesel companies to produce algae faster and more efficiently than in the method of open pond growth. In this method, or vertical growth, algae are stacked in clear plastic bags so the sun can reach them and have optimal sunlight. The bags are stacked high and then protected from the rain and covered. The extra sun exposure increases the production rates of algae, which in turn increases the oil production so there is enough. Although the best method is a closed tank bioreactor. Bioreactor plans to help increase oil rates even further. Instead of outside tanks, the tanks are instead inside. These tanks are also known as big drums that grow algae under ideal conditions. This is the faster and more effective method. Hopefully there will be enough algae to produce the fuel necessary to replace petroleum in future years.
My name is Zena, and these are the cons of algae biofuel. Our first con is that algae biofuel requires open pond growing, which is extremely risky because the water of the pond needs to be exact temperature for the algae to grow. Also, CO2 is pumped into the water, which can also contaminate the algae and the water. The algae biofuel is still in test phase, and the only car that will run on algae biofuel is a Mercedes-Benz E320. And the cost of running the algae biofuel and buying it is still up in the air, and it's a high upfront cost. The pros for algae biofuel. It is a bio-based fuel with essentially carbon-neutral combustion. It is extremely renewable. It absorbs carbon dioxide as it grows, and as it grows, there is a higher energy per acre than any other biofuel. There are already investments being made into looking into algae biofuel, and there has been research for over 50 years now.